This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Visit the podcasts page for show notes and links. Remember to like, share, and comment to help me grow. Henshin Inspection presents Going Ultra, episode 37, By Your Own Hands. I'm analyzing Ultraman Trigger episode 1, Connection of Light, which originally aired on July 10th, 2021. The writer is Naoki Hayashi, and the director is Koichi Sakamoto. I'm going to start right off with the negative stuff. There are only two things here. The title cards are nothing compared to the vintage style Z had. I really dug those. In the original Ultraman, I like those title cards. They're super cool, and they're also very cool in Ultraman Z. And I don't necessarily know why Z had those awesome title cards. If it's on an anniversary show, maybe they were just going back. Maybe they do it every other year. I don't know. I'm still relatively new to Ultraman, so I don't know all the ins and outs. I think I get it, like the basic of it on a profound level, but I don't know. I don't have like an encyclopedia recall of everything from Ultraman, so there you go. And then also, this is something actually in the show. This isn't in the meta of it, but the sword flying to trigger, I felt was way too easy. Carmeara and the Golda, I think was the kaiju he was fighting. They were tag teaming him, and he, his color timer started going, and then all of a sudden the sword flies to him from downstairs, deeper in the ruins, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Doesn't do it for me. I know this is a children's show, but we want to teach the children well, right? Not tell them everything's going to be easy for them. I mean, to some extent, it's bad enough that Ultraman always wins, right? All right, so I'm going to hop away from the negative stuff and move on to the positive. I'm going to give you my list real quick. Kengo, Mars, Shizuma, Carmeara, and Mudfight. Those are my positives, so I'll go through them one by one. Kengo's a really cool guy. I like him. He's happy. He is kind of a standard Tokusatsu shonen, Red Ranger typey protagonist. I don't know how many Ultramen hosts have been, just like happy-go-lucky guys or whatever. I don't think Hikari really is, but Haruki. I don't think Haruki really is. He's just like a positive, determined guy. But yeah, I don't see a problem with it necessarily. In fact, I liked how he wants to make everybody smile, and I dig that. So I made comments in the YouTube comment section about it, and some people, we went a little back and forth. I appreciated the counterpoints that some people were giving about him being a little too happy and too positive or whatever, and it's kind of weird. But I think the actor is charming, and I think he did a good job of conveying the very, kid show friendly message of, I just want everyone to be happy and smile. And yeah, I dug it. I also like that he's a botanist. That's really weird, really quirky, and that he made this plant, like he synthesized this plant or whatever that grows. And I hope that the plant plays a big part in the rest of the show. I kind of feel like it won't, since they're leaving Mars, which is not something I like. Speaking of something I do like, though, Mars is really cool. I love that they live in these dome cities, that they're trying to make life work there, that they've colonized the planet, that there's these weird ruins on it. Like, there's this whole history to Mars, and Mars exists in a weird way. And I think the implication in it was that Earth was too overrun with kaiju. It doesn't seem like that, since they're going back, but maybe there was like kind of a crisis, and they said, let's hurry up and colonize Mars. But yeah, I liked that. Yeah, I liked Mars. It was a cool setting. I love the color palette they had for it. It's all red and stuff, but it looked really good, and it allowed for cool stuff like that big mud fight at the end. And I like the idea of, like, oh, you have these protected cities with all the people inside, and the kaiju might appear outside of them, and they're trying to breach the city, and you have, Ultraman coming along and stopping them from getting in and causing destruction, even if they have to, drive them out of the domes once they break in there. It doesn't seem like that's what the rest of the show is going to be about, though. So it's kind of disappointing that we had this really cool thing happen, and it might change. But I'm going to keep a positive attitude and not worry about it too much. Shizuma, the old guy, who has two kids at home who know about Ultraman, and one of them seems kind of like, I don't know. They don't do second writers or second Ultras in Ultraman shows, right? So I guess that guy's not going to become a second writer, but he feels like he's being set up to be something like a second writer type character, or the Sixth Ranger or whatever, because I'm mostly familiar with those shows. But anyway, yeah, Shizuma's son is interesting. His daughter just seems kind of generically positive about Ultraman, but Shizuma seems like he has a history, like he knows all about the kaiju stuff. excuse me, like he's intimately familiar with it. He had that the spark lens or whatever that he used to shoot a kaiju, or that the Golba that was attacking. That was super cool, and I liked that, and I liked his words of inspiration. In fact, I went ahead and designed. I made a little. I just threw a quote from him on top of a like silhouette sticker type thing, or silhouetted image of him. So you can check that out at the bottom of the show notes. I thought that was really cool what he had to say. And I just found him to be an interesting character. It almost seemed like he even had a history with Kengo's mom a little bit, Mrs. Manaka, I believe. Is it Manaka or Makana? I can't remember. And I didn't look in the notes, or I didn't make, not tedious notes, but meticulous notes about it, so I'm not sure. But anyway, seemed really cool. I like him a lot. And if he is going to be involved with Gut Select and Kengo down on Earth, that'll be cool. I'd like to see him in a mentor role. Carmeara was a fierce, vicious, brutal, vindictive villain, and it was really awesome to see that. She didn't come off despite Sakamoto, she didn't come off too much like she was supposed to be alluring. She just seemed like, she's a ultra woman or something like that, an ultra titan, ultra giant, whatever, I'm not sure, lady, and she seemed really mad. Like I said, really vindictive and spiteful, and it's just cool to see like a straight played lady villain. She's a villain who happens to be a lady, and she's got her cool whip, but she wasn't just using the whip. She was going down there and she was mud wrestling Ultraman Trigger, and that was super dope. Obviously she has some sort of history with Trigger, which we'll get into throughout the series, I assume. And anyway, just I loved how brutal she was and how crazy she was, and it was really awesome. So she's a great villain to start off the show, although it is pretty funny that a rock wakes her up and then she starts all this trouble. Like, what's up with that? So that was odd. And then, the last thing is the mud fight. The mud fight was amazing. I guess Golba didn't really get too involved with it. It was mostly Carmeara and Trigger himself. But it was beautiful to see. I like them using the terrain of Mars in such an effective way. And it would have been cool if they'd had him stick around on Mars and he can fight on a glacier, fight in a big chasm, fight in, all sorts of different places. Isn't the Marianas Trench, isn't that on Mars? Or is that here on Earth? I don't know. It's really deep though. That might be on Earth. But anyway, supposedly there's a huge canyon or rift or whatever in Mars, and that would have been a cool place to see a fight as well. But anyway, regardless, the mud fight was really cool, and I will move on. I have a couple questions after watching the episode. Was Kengo's dad some sort of alien? Shizuma kind of gave Kengo's mom like a knowing look, and his hands were glowing, and there's that Azuri lady, or Suzare, or whatever her name was, the like spectral lady who appeared to him, and you are light, and what am I, lady? But he seems to have an intimate physical connection with Trigger, and I'm wondering, is it somehow possible that he's like an ancient descendant, or a like long time removed descendant somehow of like an ultra human hybrid? Maybe he was a host, or someone in his line was a host to Trigger before, and now he gets to be again. I don't know if that's possible, but that's kind of what it feels like. But I think it's neat. But then again, being that his dad's not there, I wonder if he was the guy. I don't know. And then, so this is called New Generation Tiga, or Tiga, whatever. I don't know. I think it's Tiga. Did Shizuma know Tiga? Kind of seems like it, but I thought this was supposed to, like, it's confusing. Is this an alternate reality? Is it a branching timeline? Is it a this or that? Is it a reboot? I can't quite tell, but those, that's a question I have. And then, what's the deal with the gravity and atmosphere on Mars? I mean, based on the show, and I kind of asked this in the comments too. I threw this in on that YouTube video on the episode, and somebody came pretty hard at me, but I understand where they're coming from, because this is a kid's show. But kids shows sometimes have space, and they have characters and heroes, and even kids getting off into space and having fantastical adventures, but they still like have to wear a space helmet, or an astronaut suit, or something. Like, there's always an explanation for how it's possible. I assume Mars has gravity generators, or I don't know, I can't remember. I think the gravity on Mars is less than on Earth, supposedly. So maybe they have some sort of gravity magnification thing in the bubbles or in the domes. That would be fine. A kaiju is obviously going to weigh more there and have gravity affect them more. I would assume somebody gigantic, like stories tall, would be affected more on gravity, and like it would scale that way, if you get what I'm trying to say. But then like the whole thing with the air, when Golba managed to get into the dome by digging a hole or by breaching through the wall, shouldn't that have caused an issue with the air? I don't know, whatever. I can roll with it if, they're saying that Mars has atmosphere and Mars has gravity identical to Earth, or like very, like, 0.9 the same. That's fine. I just wondered. I was surprised by that. So it just seemed kind of odd. And I don't know if that's something that's been, explored in other Ultra shows in the past. Because like I said, I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of all the Ultraman shows. I do have kind of a broader thematic type question. And I'll throw it out there and then I'll tell you how much I like this episode. But if Kengo is some sort of Ultra-offspring, will that make him too much of a Chosen One type character? And will that affect his heroism, or will that affect how you receive him, I guess, and the show as a whole? I do give this episode a 3.5 out of 5. There were some weird little things here and there, but overall I really liked it. I thought it was a real great start to the series, and it was really exciting to see this new Ultraman. I've been watching Z recently. That's my most current Ultraman experience, and it's the latest Ultraman show before Trigger. So just to see how different they are is really cool, because they definitely stand out as unique from each other. There's obviously things that are similar, and I like the balance. I like what's going on. It feels new. It feels fresh. It feels different, but it doesn't feel. It feels like it can stand on its own, but it also feels like it can kind of blend it together. So I dig that. I'm pretty good with that. And then will it, ruin him to be some sort of Ultra descendant? I don't think so, because even if you have the potential, or if you have something special about you, it's still up to the individual, like in who you are intrinsically. If you're special, it's still up to you as a person and as someone who either has character or lacks character to rise up to the challenge and I don't know, fulfill your destiny, or be who you should be, or be what you can be. So to me, that still feels like enough of a challenge for Kengo to have to face, and to prove, he's a real hero or not. So it doesn't bother me if there is some sort of, destiny aspect to this, or, messianism or whatever. Maybe his dad was a space freighter, or something like that. And, that's why he turns out to be special. That's a joke about Luke Skywalker. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for the episode. I have 2 designs, I'm just gonna say sticker designs for now, just to keep it succinct. If you want it on a shirt or a mug or anything like that, you can do that too. But basically 2 designs, one called Build the Future and one called Pave Your Destiny. Pave Your Destiny is Shizuma holding up the sparklets like a gun before he shot that kaiju, and it has a quote on there about paving your destiny with your own hands. And then the other one, it's like the Henshin call that Kengo makes about building your future. It's, build a future, hope of light, or light of hope, or something like that, that he says when he transforms into Ultraman. And it's the cool pose that he did with the sword, where he went to stab it down in the ground before he did his, I can't remember what it's like Zeronium or Zeppanium, or I can't remember what his beam or ray attack is called in this, but it was definitely interesting. It interesting name. I believe it started with a Z, Zep something or other. So anyway, you can check those out, and yeah, I would appreciate your answer to the question I asked about his chosen oneness, if that's going to be a problem for you or not. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope you enjoyed this. Check out my growing collections of analysis, art, and fiction. You can also visit mjmunoz.com/support to check out my latest designs and more. I welcome critique to improve my craft, so don't hold back any comments you have for me. I leave you with peace and blessings. This is MJ, signing out.